Welcome back to the Glitter Enthusiast. Have you noticed anything different? I did some decorations. Welcome. So today's video is going to be another one in the California series because you guys seem to like those videos. And today I'm going to be giving you a few tips before moving to California because these tips, either I followed them, they're super helpful, or I wish someone had told me them. And I hope that they help you if you're planning on moving to California. I'd say the first tip would be to have a job lined up before you move to California because it is quite expensive to live here. Cost of living is pretty high. The closer you are to the ocean, the more expensive it will be. And so I think it would be a good idea to have a job lined up. If not, then you should have quite a bit of money saved up so that you can live and not just be like really stressed trying to find a job really fast. I feel like it would be a lot less stressful for you if you had a job lined up before or if you had quite a bit of money saved up so that you could live somewhat comfortably for a few months until you found a job. Now, I understand this can be challenging because sometimes it is hard to get a job out of state. So if you can save up quite a bit so that you can move here and then get a job, that's completely fine, but I would just recommend having a job. The second tip is pretty obvious, but I think you should have quite a bit of money saved up to move out here because when you're getting an apartment, this is just adult advice. You're welcome because I'm a professional adult. When you get an apartment, you need to put down a deposit. You might need to put down a month's worth of rent, and then you might need to put down extra deposits depending on a bunch of stuff. I don't know. You might need to pay homeowners insurance. You might need to pay a car deposit. You might need to pay a pet deposit if you have a pet. There are a lot of different things that you're going to need to put down right away. Plus, you are going to need to buy furniture if your apartment is not fully furnished. So you're going to have to buy a mattress at least, maybe a box mattress so that your mattress isn't on the floor. I mean, either way, like, you do you. You can organize your house however you want. But you might need a dresser, you might need chairs to sit on, you might need a table to eat at. So I would recommend saving up quite a bit of money to move, not only for like the trip and the gas and the car costs, but also because it does cost a lot of money to move into any apartment. In California, there is this thing called a smog test, which you will have to pay for, and you cannot get your car registered in California unless you've had the car smog test thing to make sure that your car is okay, and you'll have to pay for that as well. Moving on to the next tip, but it's kind of tied into this one. Do not think, oh, I just won't register my car in California because it's cheaper in other states. If a cop catches you, you might get your license revoked and you won't be able to drive. I've heard of someone that happened to. Also, I think you have a pretty short amount of time after you move here to register your vehicle, and if you don't, you will have to pay a really big fine, and I'm talking in the hundreds. Like, it's really big. So if you don't register your car and you're like, oh, I'll do it when I get settled, you will have to pay a massive fine. So I'm gonna say the first thing you should do is get the smog checked and then go and get your new insurance, because depending on how far you move, your insurance from the East Coast is not gonna work on the West Coast. At least for me, it didn't. And so you'll have to get new insurance and then register and get a new license and a California license, etc., to avoid paying a really big fine. So yeah, that was the point, is register your car as fast as you can, get all your DMV and insurance all figured out as fast as you can, because if you don't, you will get fined. This is a bit of advice, you don't have to follow this whatsoever, but what I did when I moved out to California is I subleased an apartment, which just means you are taking over somebody else's lease, and I thought that was really helpful for me because I did not have to pay a deposit, and because it was a short amount of time, because when you're taking over somebody's sublease, it's normally like a year or maybe even 6 months, and you're taking over like the last 2 months or the last 3 months. So you're moving in, when you're moving into a new city, you're seeing what areas you like, and it's a lot less commitment than signing a lease from far away for like an entire year, because you only have like 2 months, 3 months of commitment to that location, and you can see if you like that apartment complex, if you like that location, if you want to move somewhere else, what kind of apartment you want. It's a really good way of learning what you want in your apartment in the city that you're moving to. And so I would suggest subleasing because it does save you money, and it's like pretty immediate because you can like sublease from someone if you're coming in from out of state, and it's pretty easy, and it really helped me. Honestly, I'm so glad I subleased because I don't know what I would have done if I had signed a year away immediately and then I was like, oh my gosh, I hate this place because I'd never been here before. So I think subleasing is a good idea. Going along with that, if you're moving to a big city that is near big universities, there are a lot of apartments that are cheaper-ish, and they include all of utilities, and they are fully furnished, and they normally have a pool and a gym because they're trying to accommodate students because they're much cheaper than living on campus. Those apartments are much cheaper than living on campus. And so I would highly recommend trying to find those sort of apartments. That was the first apartment I moved into, and so it was fully furnished. I didn't have to buy any furniture whatsoever, which saved me a lot of money. I was subleasing, like I just said, so I didn't have to pay any deposit. All of that helped me save a lot because I'd paid a lot to move over here. And so all of that was extremely helpful. So I would recommend looking into one of those places, especially if you're younger and you kind of want to have like younger neighbors. I don't know, because you would have stuff in common. I don't know why you would want to have younger neighbors. I'd really never talk to my neighbors, but I don't know. It could be a good idea. That could help save a lot of money, especially if you take over a sublease, because then you're only there for like 2 months. Now, if, again, you're moving to a big city with universities around it, there will probably be some sort of Facebook page that is like free and for sale type thing, which is where people post their subleases or things they're selling, like furniture, or if they're looking for a roommate, etc., etc. So I would say just Google a bunch of Facebook pages in that area, or just on Facebook, like type in San Diego State University free and for sale or something like that. And that's how I found my first apartment, and that's also how I found my first roommate, which sounds kind of sketchy, but it was not. There are videos talking about how it wasn't sketchy, so just trust me, I'm a professional. Basically, that would be my recommendation, is to go on that Facebook page, and that might help your move a lot. Then once you get settled and you kind of find your roots, then you can go out and find like a better apartment that you actually enjoy and a better location, etc., etc. But if you're moving to a new place, this is for people who are moving from far away here. If you're moving from like Los Angeles to San Diego, this might not apply to you, I don't know, but that is what I would recommend. The next tip I would have, if you're living in California, have a roommate, because everything's expensive. It's expensive to live alone. So find yourself a roommate on that Facebook page that I told you about, or you can go on Bumble, BFF or something, I don't know, go somewhere and find yourself a roommate. Make sure they ain't crazy, make sure you interview them before and you internet stalk them, and also have a short lease, because then if they are crazy, you're not stuck to them forever. So, but you must have a roommate. Unless you have a really high paying job, then congratulations, you can live alone comfortably. Good for you. Those were my tips on moving to California. I hope at least one of them was helpful to you if you're planning on moving. If you want to move to California, please comment below and ask your questions, and maybe I'll do a Q&A video, who knows, or just another video in this series. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see, and you guys should definitely like, comment, and subscribe, because we're almost at 200 subs. Come on, please. Okay, bye.